So, what happens when a war-torn country gets sealed off from the rest of the world, but something far stranger than any war is starting to spread inside of that country? I've just spent the past hour and a half exploring the Hell Is Us demo, and it is unlike anything else that I played this year for sure. It's part survival, part mystery, part kind of psychological fever dream. Let me show you why. I am Limbo from DeltiasGaming.com. Thanks for checking this video out. Hell Is Us is a new third-person action-adventure game from Rogue Factor. This is a company that's directed by Jonathan Jacques Bellatet, I'm pretty sure. He's the art director behind the Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, and the Human Revolution games. Beautiful game. So he was the art director there. He's now the director of this game. And Hell Is Us blends this kind of melee combat, almost Souls-like experience with this open exploration and narrative mystery that really dives you into something that feels very, very grounded in the real world, but also very scary, very surreal. In this preview, I'll walk you through the story setup, kind of the systems that they get you into, as well as my first impressions after playing the hands-on demo, hopefully without spoiling anything too important, which would be very hard because there's not very much to spoil in the game so far at all. You play as a man, Remy, who's returning to his homeland. This is a country that's been isolated by a civil war and this mysterious disaster. No one seems to get in or out of this country, and in that chaos, these strange kind of entities have appeared. They're not quite zombies, they're not really aliens, they're like these living manifestations of something very, very strange. They stalk the landscape, drawn to you by your presence. There's no friendly military squad to back you up or anything. There's no GPS, there's no quest markers, there's no nothing like that in this game. It's just you, your blade, eventually some axes when you find them, and your instincts. The game's tone is setting it up to mix kind of this political unrest of this country with this surreal horror, this country that's under occupation both by warring military factions, but also these terrifying creatures. The game kind of feels like Death Stranding and Control and Atomfall had this very strange little baby together. Exploration is the entire heart of Hell Is Us. There's no minimap, there's no compass. The world really wants you to look and listen and find the paths yourself. You'll see these paths by spotting smoke on the horizon maybe, or you're gonna follow the tracks in the ground stumbling into these landmarks. There are abandoned homes kind of scattered throughout the area, even just the starting area, and each one tells part of the story through what they've left behind. Sometimes it's safe, but often you are not alone in these areas. The game seems to have a very heavy focus on this mystery and exploration with puzzle-solving mechanics as well. The demo will see your character sneaking into this quarantine city looking for his parents. You stumble upon items and letters and clues that hint at an almost mythical nation with queens and armies and deep religious beliefs and hatreds among the factions of the people here. At one point, you're sent off looking for a medical kit for injured soldiers before being thrust into a fight with the scary alien creatures that we've been mentioning. There are puzzles that you solve by turning keys and statues the right way, and seemingly even deeper hidden secrets and treasures that aren't yet available inside of this short demo. The combat, while being pretty basic in the demo so far, is very deliberate, very weighty and dangerous. So far, you're relying only on melee weapons, swords, axes, other improvised looking tools in some of the footage that they've released. There seems to be ranged weapons available later in the game, but ammo is going to be rare, and firing your gun is probably a decision you're going to have to make and should not be a habit that you fall into. Enemies are very fast and unpredictable, and they often appear in spaces that make the movement getting around them very tricky. Sometimes there's lots of them, sometimes there's not so many, but they're all very cool. They look very similar to the Nobodies in the Kingdom Hearts series. That's my favorite video game franchise of all time, and I was getting very clear vibe that they were almost inspired by those kind of creepy moving little white ghosty looking creatures. Inside of combat, your stamina is very, very important. Just mashing the X button, swinging wildly will leave your character exhausted and makes your attacks much slower, and the enemies will punish those mistakes very hard. This game has survival mechanics that are meant to keep you on edge. The healing items seem to be pretty scarce so far. You pick up a couple of them along the way, and the crafting materials that you're going to need seem to hint that you'll be venturing into more risky territory more often. Visually, the game is beautiful, and it's very contrasting. There are these war-torn cities, but also things like rural farmlands, trenches where recent wars seem to have taken place, all rendered with very grounded realism, but really step into kind of this other sidey, reality-bending tone. The lighting is great, and so the color throughout the areas shift. The structures are getting twisted in this kind of medieval castle-looking ancient towns. The sky up above you is pulsing like it's almost living as well, and the sound design is very intense. One moment you're hearing ringing bells leading you back to a safe space, and the other one you might be hearing distant gunfire and scary sounds. And in the next you might be hearing creepy gunfire or the whines of those creepy aliens we're fighting. So after an hour and a half, what's my takeaway? Hell Is Us is not really holding your hand about anything, and that's either going to frustrate you very much or it might immerse you in the game. This does not seem to be an open world action adventure game where you're going to know every next step, know exactly where you need to get to, and follow the compass on the top of your screen to get there quickly. You have to use tips from the characters around you and the environment that you stumble into to find where your next location might be. The mystery of the game so far is very compelling. This is a dense world with a very creepy atmosphere, and the art direction is unlike anything else we've seen this year, especially in these almost Souls-like style games. On the flip side, some of you might feel that the combat is a little too slow. I started to feel that as I was getting farther into it, understanding more how it works. It seems to be more based on your endurance, which is your combination of your health and your stamina bar. In the demo, there doesn't seem to be much depth to the combat just yet, so it can get old pretty quickly, but I'm sure when the full game releases, there's going to be much more depth to the combat, which might make it a little bit more fun. The navigation can be very disorienting for some people. I myself personally need sometimes those quest markers on my compass, so this might be a bit more difficult for you if you're not one who wants to sit down, listen, and pay attention to what's in the game, maybe even taking notes along the way to understand where you might be heading. Maybe you enjoy the patience that comes with the Death Stranding game, but we're hoping for a little bit more combat. Or maybe you like the Control, Alan Wake style games with a more grounded setting surrounded by surrealism and scary things. I think you'll probably click with this game. Right now, the demo is available on Xbox, PC, and PS5. This is my first look at Hell Is Us. There's about an hour and a half worth of content inside of the demo. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys try this game out and if you enjoy it. We might be covering this game even more when it comes out if that's something you guys enjoy. So make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and we'll see you guys in the next one.